This is a little behind the scenes video about a project that I'm right now working on, which is basically every single instrument in GarageBand in one song. Now this is going to be a pretty tough challenge. I don't know why I chose this, I just came up with it. And so yeah, if you guys aren't watching this video, that means I've pretty much failed. But if you guys are watching this video, then of course I've done a somewhat decent job at it, hopefully. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. So I've just opened GarageBand up here, and I'm starting with the drum kits just because I think that'll be the easiest to start off with. And I think I'm going to start off with the top one that appears and work my way all the way down. And I'm probably going to do it where one drum kit is playing like one part, so like this drum kit could be probably playing like the bass drum, this drum kit could probably be playing a snare and maybe a bit of hi-hat, we could have a bit of cymbals, and we'll have like 3 groups of drum kits playing at once for like a certain amount of time, and then we'll have 3 different drum kits, like another 3 drum kits playing at another time. And so yeah, that's how it's going to work out. I've also set it to a tempo of 90 because I think that will fit like all these instruments, because it's going to be the toughest part I think about is that there's so many instruments, so many different instruments. Like you've got electronic drum kits, you've got synths, but then you've also got orchestral instruments. So like it's going to be kind of hard to see how they really fit in with each other because they all come from different genres. So yeah, that's how it's going to work. So I'm just going to start recording and see what I come up with. And yeah, it's a pretty good beat. Obviously I have to do refining, some quantizing and some changes with it because I'm not the greatest drummer, especially when it comes to this stuff. So yeah, I'll come back after some editing. Transition. Okay, so I'm back and I've edited a little bit of it. As you can see, I've created a few more drums here. So I've actually designed layers as I said I was doing. I did a hi-hat. Here we've got kick snare. We've also got another kick snare just to add some depth to it. And here we've got your kick drum or bass drum. I'm really tossing up between the terms with a little bit of a tambourine, because that it just kind of, I'll show you how it sounds right now. You can kind of see all of it and hear how it's really going. I've also added that this little bit at the end which I'm gonna add onto, and that's just a little hi-hat to really start the song. So yeah, I'm going to do a lot of this. I'm going to be doing a lot of editing and a lot of layering during this song. So right now I'm going to skip to a time lapse. Okay, as you can see, I've made a lot more progress and I'm almost done. So I've pretty much finished the drum part, and there's a lot of tracks, about 18 tracks there. And well, to tidy it up a bit, I thought I could export it as its own song and then create a whole new GarageBand project and then just label that as drum parts, and then I can get on with the next part of the song. Okay, so I've opened up GarageBand again and I've exported and imported the drum kit parts just like I said I would. And now all I've really got to do is start on the electronic drum kits. That's what I'm going to do next. And it's going to be kind of hard because we've already got some drum kits here, but of course I need to use all the instruments. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I'm probably going to like sprinkle a few things here and there. You see, as an example, I could do like a Just like a bunch of those, maybe a few fills, just to get more decorative with it. So I've done a bit more editing and I've laid down a few more tracks. I'll play a little quick preview for you guys. So yeah, I've done a bit more decorating. You can kind of hear how the electronic drum kits aren't really taking over the normal drum kits, which is what I'm trying to do here. And the thing is, I've still got a lot more to go. I'm only halfway done with the electronic drum kits. So yeah, hopefully it'll be good. So I've pretty much finished all the drum kit parts and it's been quite challenging. To be honest, I've only done 2 instrument sections and it's already this challenging. I'm not sure how I'm going to do the rest. It's going to take a while. I think it's more the time consumation part. It's more time consuming is what I'm trying to say rather than it is challenging. It's one of those things, to be honest. I also wanted to talk about something in here. Right here, I left a space, like there's no normal drum kits, there's only electronic drum kits, and this is what it sounds like. So you can hear there's like no normal drum kits, just electronic drum kits. And oh, when I say normal drum kits, I probably mean to say acoustic drum kits is what I'm trying to say. And anyway, that's just something to think about. Obviously, I'm not a producer, so you don't have to like follow what I'm doing. You don't have to be. I'm not trying to say, oh, you should do this. But if you're doing a project like this for whatever reason with a lot of instruments, it's good to like have space, you know, where it doesn't feel so crowded. Because like a tough challenge I've had with this is I've always felt where it sounds quite crowded. Like here, I don't know, it sounds alright. But it kind of, there's a lot of instruments in there. I feel in this case it's not too bad, but like if I did something else, they could be very crowded. So that's just something to think about. Also, I found out that I recorded a section of the electronic drum kit starting on the second beat instead of the first beat. This cost me a lot of time trying to edit the whole thing so it was in sync. Please, please, please don't make the same mistake. Anyways, the next part I've got to do is bass. It's a brand new day. Today I'm going to record bass and guitar parts and hopefully piano parts if I get to that. Okay, so now I've got to write the bass parts. So I've chosen the Liverpool bass to start with first because that sounds the best from my previous experience for what I have in mind. So I'm just going to listen to the track and get some ideas of what I'm going for. Okay, so I think I'm gonna actually start the bass track right where the drums fully come in. Here, like at the beginning, I'm gonna leave that space for like some clean guitar, some synths, maybe for some strings, just like a chill part here before we actually kind of bring in the beat a bit more. I think the A minor scale should be a good key to work in. For those of you who don't know, the A minor scale is basically the C major scale, but just in a different mode. And both of them use the white keys, all the white keys of a piano, so it shouldn't be that hard. I'm gonna start recording and see what I come up with. I think I like the second one better, so I'm just gonna take that and loop that. And I'm also gonna quantize everything. Quantization, basically, it's kind of like the auto-tune of rhythm. Sometimes it gets a bad rep for like people, and that's kind of obvious. For some people, it's basically cheating with rhythm. It makes everything in the right place at the right time. I'm just gonna use it for this purpose. Okay, that's a bit out of time, so I'm gonna cut it a bit and drag it and see what I can. Okay, that's right. Yep, that's right on the dot. And now I'm gonna load another instrument. I'm gonna get the next bass, and I think I'll go with the fingerstyle bass. I think it'll suit the next part, this part right here. So I think to build the hype, I guess, kinda, to use that kind of word, I don't really know. I'm gonna go with staccato notes, so something like that. So I'm gonna click record. Okay, and again, I'm gonna quantize that, and I should be good to go. I'll basically be doing this for all of the bass. That was an unintended pun right there. And yeah. Okay, we've got the last bass instrument out of all of these bass instruments. All of these, look at them. So hard. One problem I had with doing this is that there's only one bass instrument out of all of these instruments that is on like more than 2 tracks. A lot of these are only on 1 track. So like when I mean track, I mean like this part here. So yeah, it's pretty wild. Also try to mix it so you could hear every single instrument, although it gets hard, and it will get even harder when you're trying to mix like 100 instruments, which is what I'm doing in this case. And so anyways, let's go ahead and record this. So you can probably tell by now that I've done a bit of work, well actually a lot of work outside this behind the scenes video, and I haven't recorded everything I did. And that's just because, one, I'm too lazy to record everything I did, and two, if I did record everything I did, that would just be a bunch of content that would be the same old lazy thing of me just editing the same old thing, and it'd be pretty boring. So yeah. So as you can see, I've already recorded a bit of the guitar parts. I've done some classic clean and acoustic guitar at the beginning. Just like I said I was going to do, it's a bit of an intro part. So yeah, you kind of get the gist of it. And so now I'm going to create another track for the guitar. I'm going to choose hard rock just because we all kind of know where I'm going to put this, in this place right here where the beat becomes very rock-ish. Ah no, I'll just show you. You can hear the drum kits when I isolate the drum kit track. I'm gonna record the hard rock guitar in here, so yeah. Also, I'm going to change this. I'm gonna add a bit more drive. There we go. Turn this down a bit. I'm also gonna add a bit of reverb for some ambiance. And yeah, if you listen to the bass parts, you can hear those staccato notes I was talking about earlier. I'm gonna follow that with the hard rock guitar just to add some depth or layers to it. Um, and but I think I'll leave it as chords, like just long chords. Like, so I found a cool thing with this MIDI keyboard. If you go down to a certain part, where normal guitars you don't see them going down to, it doesn't actually play really really low notes. It actually plays it actually plays chords. So, because these are like the lowest notes of a guitar, and then there's a certain point where it just turns into chords. So yeah, I'm gonna use that and record that. So yeah, I think that's pretty decent. Okay, so change of plans. Instead of strings, I'm gonna do piano and marimba and xylophone and stuff like that. Just because I think strings I will do with all the other orchestral stuff. So yeah. So the cool thing about this challenge is that I get to use instruments that I probably wouldn't use in normal songs. All flights have been delayed. Please walk over to Terminal 3. So I've done a lot more work. I've added the pianos and electric pianos, as I said I was doing, and also the marimbas and a vibraphone. There's a section here called Vintage Mellotrons, and it contains some pretty interesting sounds. Like, I personally would not no, I personally would not use these sounds because they don't really fit in with what I do. They're vintage, of course, so they have a kind of vintage sound to them, obviously. So I'll play a section for you. This is the three violins. That's supposed to be a violin. It's like not 100% violin sounding, but then again, this is meant to emulate the sound of a vintage mellotron. I should probably search that up. Also, we've got a mixed choir that I decided to add into this section over here. I'm not sure if I've showed you guys this section, but the section was like it's very, it's like the climax of the whole song, and it's near the end of the song before it all goes down. So I'll play for you. And then it just slowly forms into this much softer and calmer part of the song as it slowly fades out. And then we've got a bit of a piano end to it. And then it just repeats itself, and then the song ends. Also, the flute vintage mellotron is very reminiscent of the Beatles. So if you guys know Strawberry Fields, I'll try and play. That already kind of sounds like Strawberry Fields to me. So yeah, I'm going to use that flute sound to make the piano solo, the end part, sound a bit more vintage. And now I'm going to move over to the orchestral part. So this is what I've been doing for the orchestral part. These yellow lines over here is automation, and that's basically something that I can use to, while the song is playing, it automatically adjusts the volume in this case. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And I'll play it for you right now so you can hear how it sounds. Yeah, so that's how I'm really using it in this case. So yeah, I'm basically just sprinkling orchestral parts wherever it seems like it fits. Obviously, it's a bit hard to do this when you've got so many different instruments that are at home, I guess, in different genres. But yeah, it's going pretty well. I'm not even anywhere near finished, which is kind of the sad part, but hopefully by the end of it, it'll all be worth it. I'm up to the choir part out of the orchestral section, and there's this one thing that's really bugging me. See here? This is classical ensemble in the choir, and it sounds like this. There you go. And then this is chamber choir, and it sounds like this. Do you hear it? They're literally the same thing. Why would Apple put two different sounds if they're the same? I mean, like, someone with really good hearing can probably say, oh yeah, there's this frequency that's a bit off, and this frequency has a bit more bass to it or something. But, like, I can't really tell. I mean, it doesn't really matter anyways, because I have to put both of them in since I have to use all instruments. But that's just a little thing I'm kind of ranting about. So me being me, I decided to add extra bars to the song. This did mean I had to export and import all the tracks again, but it gives me a longer song to work with, meaning parts of the song will be less crowded with instruments. Anyway, time to move on to recording organ. So I downloaded and recorded a bunch of the vintage organs, as you can see, and I was downloading the pipe organ, and apparently I needed to add some new sounds to that. So beforehand they just sounded like the same because I needed to download those sounds, and now that I have, it's all good. So yeah. So I finished all the organ parts, both pipe organ and vintage organ, and all I can really say is that, well, I did an alright job. I mean, it's kind of hard. It's like trying to paint with a paintbrush and, I don't know, a potato, and you have to use both of them to paint a beautiful painting. It's kind of hard to do that, especially with sounds like the Baroque organ and the church organ. Those are sounds that you won't really find in genres like hip hop and rock and all the other genres that I've got going in the song. So yeah, hopefully I did a decent job. You guys can judge yourselves when you listen to it. Ayo, this is me from the future coming to say that I'm gonna end the video here because after I edited the whole thing it was way too long to post this one video. So because it's easier for you guys to watch that way, I'm gonna split it up into two parts. And yeah, so the second part should be out in a few more days, so stay tuned for that.